We're now all set, and we're really excited to bring the most awaited event of the year, the inaugural of the 18th Annual Information Security Summit 2023. Day one of AISS 2023 officially commenced yesterday, featuring specialized hands-on workshops focused on hardware security led by industry experts representing renowned companies. The agenda included subject-driven sessions and a day-long cybersecurity capture the flag hackathon that was hosted by DSCI and EY. Information on sessions, the schedule, speakers, and networking is available on the official website, www.dsci.in/events/AISS2023. You can also scan the QR codes available at the back of your lanyards to get the agenda and overall conference handbook. Numerous contests are currently on and underway, offering you opportunities to win and celebrate, so make sure you make your way to all of the booths outside and check out what's going on in the contest space. We request you to share your updates and experience on social media using the official hashtag AISS2023, and tag us on Twitter or X now on DSCI_Connect. We would like to announce that this edition of AISS is powered by Palo Alto Networks. Also, our exclusive title partners are Third Eye Techno Solutions, Digital Forensic Partner, Blue Sapphire, Cyber Resilience Partner, CloudSec, Supply Chain Monitoring Partner, Deloitte, Data Protection Event Partner, Kaspersky, Threat Intelligence Services Partner, SentinelOne, XDR Partner, Securite, Security Platform Partner. A huge round of applause, because without these partners, we wouldn't have had the scale and size of AISS as it is around you. So can we have a round of applause, please? The summit would not have been possible without their support. First, as we begin and kickstart our inaugural, let's hear from Mr. Anil Valluri, MD and Vice President, India and SAARC, Palo Alto Networks. Anil, if you can join us on stage. And we'll begin today's proceeding.
Morning. Good morning. Welcome to the audience. Great energy, great set of people. It's our honor and privilege to be the title sponsor for this event, annual Security Summit. We have a great lineup of speakers today, great sessions. I hope India, of course, apart from all of the finesse that we have on technology, they're also highly scaled and highly complex. That adds two dimensions to how to deal with cybersecurity. And we have a very good set of sessions today. I hope we can all take back a lot of things on what's going on from a cybersecurity standpoint. At Palo Alto Networks, we have a ringside view of what's going on across the globe and in India. Both the opportunities and the threats, using AI-powered cyber defense, how do we protect our customers, how do we protect individuals, and how do we protect the nation? And we are deeply invested in India, of course, and that's the reason, one of the reasons why we are keen to work with the DSCI to help put together this event. We have great customers, great partners, and of course, a large engineering center in Bangalore, where we're doing very specific work for India. So on that note, welcome you to this event and be part of this. Very, very privileged. Thank you for the opportunity, DSCI. Thank you.
Thank you so much for setting the tone, tenor, and context to what's to ensue. Joining you on stage, we have Mr. Vinayak Godse, CEO, DSCI, Pramod Bhasin, Chairman, DSCI, Ashwin Lohani, former Chairman, Railway Board and Air India, and currently CEO of GMR Aero Services. Today, we also have the pleasure of having with us Shri S. Krishnan, Secretary Minister of Electronics and Information Technology, as our chief guest, joining virtually for the summit. May I request all of you to join us on stage, please? And now, it's time to hear from the man behind the show, Vinayak Godse, CEO DSCI. Vinayak, over to you.
DSCI Chairman Pramod Bhasin, Mr. Lohani, CEO GMR Business Services, all the friends and security fraternity community joining here for the 18th version of Annual Information Security Summit. You all know that we all meet India Meets for Security in the month of December. And this is time where most of the security fraternity, be it a small startup to the CIO, to CISOs, to security expert, architect, they try to make a point that they are in Delhi to witness the annual Information Security Summit. This year, this is going definitely one level up what we have seen last year, right, in terms of the support that we are getting, in terms of the sponsorship support that we have been getting from the partners, the kind of sessions that we are planning, kind of community support that we have been receiving for the summit. And this is really a confluence and kind of all the things which happens in cybersecurity. Right? We try to take a review of what things happen in year, because this is we are ending year of security with the summit, and we try to also take a review of what is going to happen from now for the cybersecurity. So at the annual Information Security Summit, so this is a 3 days affair. We started yesterday. This is the main inaugural day, and there are a lot of things which will be happening in the today's deliberations, and we will be ending tomorrow with the DSCI Excellence Award. So as we see, as we try to really reflect on what had really happened in cybersecurity space in this particular year and the year, all the years from now, so we'd like to see the overall, the kind of evolutions that we see. And we say this particular decade is a decade for technology for us, right? So we talk about 5G, talk about AI, talk about hardware semiconductor, drone. And country has been making quite a significant bets on the various different technologies, right? And these technologies have been really trying to help us with our digitization plan, but also helping us to achieve larger goals that this country is trying to make sure for that. The digital economy that we talk about and the kind of experimentation that we did as a country basically in terms of the digital public infrastructure. So all of those effort that we are putting together, and they're throwing a lot of challenges for security, right? For example, from the fraud side, because of the digitization payment ecosystem, so we are trying to grappling with the problems of frauds basically, right? And we are taking quite a significant consolidated review about what is going to happen and what we are trying to do, and we are trying to deliberate on a lot of those things happening around this particular part, and the challenges it throws for cybersecurity. And then we also try to see that security or digitization is going more physical. It is trying to get most of the physical ecosystem, physical assets, physical processes, and they are becoming more digital basically. And then we are trying to look at smart city on one hand, the oil energy on the other hand, the power sector, the manufacturing sector. And we are seeing the participation of all of these segments, all of these sectors of industry in Annual Information Security Summit. And we're trying to find the security agenda there. And we just heard about what is happening in OT, SCADA OT kind of environment, and what can we do to create an agenda of cybersecurity there basically. So that's one of the important agenda of AISS as well, and we will be deliberating quite significantly to look at the sectors which are not discussed largely in the context of cybersecurity. And that's the effort that we'll be putting as a part of the Annual Information Security Summit. We would be also looking at one of the key things which we had seen in this year with the DPDP Act coming in with a new Digital India Act that we have been talking about, and the regulation like SEBI, like RBI, like IRDA came up with a very stringent regulation. The regulation obligations and liabilities are becoming so stringent, so significant. So we are trying to browse these challenges, and compliance and regulatory compliance is definitely one of the important part, and we'll be deliberating quite significantly on how the regulatory landscape is changing from the cybersecurity perspective now onward for the privacy as well, right? And then one of the important thing that we would be also looking at, and this is what we look at, the security is a matter of details, right? Security is a matter of a lot of use cases for coming from different industry verticals, basically. And security is also collective learning and also coordinated response, basically. Coming together, engaging on dialogue, understanding the problems, and trying to find solutions collectively is very important part of the security, basically. So we will be collectively try to understand, and this is the AIS's key motto, how to get people from different walk of the life and come and talk about the challenges and try to deliberate on that. And while doing that, when we are preparing ourselves to defend, to respond better, we also know that we have quite a good possibility that are coming for cybersecurity, right? And there are a lot of possibilities for the services industry, product industry, for the startups ecosystem that we have in this country, which is growing out. So how do we make sure that we leverage from those possibilities created out of cybersecurity? for Indian market, for global market as well. And we are seeing a lot of global market coming to Indian ecosystem and trying to leverage our capability, setting up their security operation centers out of India, basically. So this Annual Information Security Summit is an amalgamation of all of those ideas that we are putting together and all these dimensions I just briefly talked about. But there are a lot of nuances that we'll be covering as a part of Annual Information Security Summit. We'll be doing a lot of those startup-centric activities as well. Tomorrow, we'll be also trying to acknowledge and try to recognize the role that security leaders are playing all across the industry vertical with the DSCI Excellence Award. And DSCI team had worked quite intensely with the support of the industry ecosystem with us. And more importantly, the putting together this level of conference, which is such a large and expanded version of what we have seen in last year. So all the support that we got from the security leadership of this country, and now the privacy leadership as well, and more importantly, all the participants coming, and the startup ecosystem here, and more importantly, the kind of sponsors and partners that we received this year, basically. With this, I welcome you all for Annual Information Security Summit, and we welcome you all for all your contributions, your viewpoints on the deliberations, basically, and try to see how we take a review of this year and prepare for the next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vinayak, for your insights on the important initiatives and priority areas for DSCI and also what to expect as we go forth from here. We're delighted to have amongst us our DSCI Chairman, Pramod Bhasin, Chairman iCryer, Founder Genpact Limited, and Chairman Clicks Capital. Moving ahead, please put your hands together and welcome for Mr. Pramod Bhasin's welcome address. Over to you, Pramod.
Good morning, everyone. Such a pleasure to be here and a privilege. It's been a while since I've been back here. I used to participate in the awards, etc. earlier, and then for a rank amateur, I was invited to be the chairperson of DSCI. Vinayak is still trying to figure out why that happened, but I'll be here, and I'm here as a practitioner and as a CEO. I'm sorry, I'm not going to put this way because I have. I'm trying to use ChatGPT as much as I can, so I've got some cyber attacks and other things to talk about. It's a real pleasure to be here because we contribute jointly and cooperatively towards one of the greatest threats that we face, because future wars are going to be fought around cybersecurity and not necessarily through the old-fashioned way. And I think the threat to our country, to our nation, to industry, to platforms is immense. As we all migrate quietly, unobtrusively, sometimes without thinking, and migrate towards increasing use of technology in our daily lives, I know that as a consumer, as a CEO, as a practitioner, as an entrepreneur, I am uniquely unaware of the dangers of cybersecurity. I would tell you when I talk to CEOs, non-IT company CEOs, non-DSCI CEOs, non-CISOs who understand this very well, I asked ChatGPT to just tell me a few of the cyber attacks that have happened recently. So here goes. All of you know this better than I. But the fact is, the scale of these is immense. And I'm going to read a few. Data of 470,000 members of a large pension scheme being stolen. Royal Mail victim of a cyber attack by Russian ransomware. US Electoral Commission. Interference with cybercrime in US elections. UK Electoral Commission targeted by a complex cyber attack in August, accessing voter registers and online contact information. ABB attacked in May with company devices compromised, private information leaked. MGM Resorts suffered a criminal cyber attack. The Guardian faced a sophisticated attack whereby, in fact, in the time of AI and machine learning, now anybody can ape anything, and these cyber attacks can really make it astonishingly dangerous. WordPress, etc., 14,000 sites infected with malware through adverts. As we think about the platforms that we work in, I know you, all of you, more than we, are aware of the impact these can have. Telecom platforms, payment platforms, UPIs, which cut across the world. And increasingly, as we expand our use to them, I think we must expand the level of awareness of our population, of our individuals, of our CEOs. It is critical, as we think this through, that the role played by organizations such as DSCI, as well as, of course, this edition of our annual Information Security Summit, becomes even more important. We had a whole range of training sessions, workshops, etc. yesterday. We look forward to a full day today. Mr. Lohani, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for joining us. Vinayak, you've been here, and our secretary at MITI is going to join us virtually. But having talked about welcoming you, I hope we will do a few other things along with this. I hope we will look at this as one of the major opportunities ahead of us for business. India must become one of the champions of cybersecurity solutions around the world, just like Israel has. I was in Israel earlier last year, before the current issues that obviously that country is facing along with Palestine, and the range of cybersecurity solutions that they had and the number of companies they had was fantastic. I don't know how many of you know, but Israel has the most number of companies on NASDAQ from a global company perspective. Most number of companies going into NASDAQ from an international perspective come from Israel, many of them devoted to cybersecurity. I hope India can replicate, not replicate, but originate companies of the same size, because the opportunity ahead of us for business in cybersecurity is immense. It is as immense as any other vertical that I am aware of within the IT sector. Just as the IT sector has grown and the BPO sector grew and analytics grew, data sciences has grown, data engineering has grown, cybersecurity on its own must grow. For us as a country, I think it is even more important because our future and the way India has leapfrogged into the technology decade has been extraordinary on the back of digital public platforms. That, in fact, is some subject. I was at a conference in Nimrana recently with Nandan, Milikani, and others. You know, the impact that digital public platforms are likely to have in our country, ONDC, healthcare, education, so many others, the full jam stack, the bank accounts, etc., is profound. It's going to start impacting 800 million people at the best of times within the next 2-3 years. Every merchant is going to be transacting on ONDC. Everyone's health records are going to be on another platform. Everyone's education bases, the curriculums, the teachers will all be there. The ability to deliver all these services around the world, around India, the ability of banks to reach out, will all be based on these digital public platforms, which is a tremendous revolution happening in our country right now. Unseen, quiet, but over time, I think it will revolutionize what India is doing, and it is something that the rest of the world is now looking at and importing towards themselves. Certainly in Africa, certainly in Asia, in Europe, many countries are looking at the models that we have come up with in India and wanting to replicate them. And yet, every one of these moves increases the risks of cyber attacks. Every one of the moves needs a wrapper around it of enhanced digital security. Every one of these moves, as the earlier panel was talking about, the number of attacks we get, the number of calls we get, the number of people we get calling us. I don't know how many of you are getting this now, apart from people offering you work very aggressively. Certainly they offered me a lot of work, and through WhatsApp saying, do you want to earn so much? And if you say no, then they keep at it. Certainly somebody else is offering to connect you. Certainly somebody else is offering visas. It's happening in almost myriad way, driven by machines with no human interaction necessary, and being able to do this at scale and at volume. Given that, this conference probably cannot be more relevant to our lives than any other conference that I can think of. I want to thank Vinayak and your team, Vinayak, entire DSCI team who worked so hard to put this together. The agenda for the 2 days is fantastic. The number of people coming to speak is wonderful. I'm delighted that all of you have been here. I welcome you. My iPad is now stuck here for some reason. I welcome all of you to the conference. I hope you'll enjoy it. I hope you'll network. I hope you'll discover new areas of business, new friends, make new friends. Most of all, though, I hope we can all leave it with a feeling of optimism for the fact that there's so much opportunity ahead of us in an area which the world desperately needs, and where I hope, with the help of all of you and what DSCI is doing, we can bridge the gap and really leapfrog to be the leaders in this area and build products the whole world will see and use. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Really appreciate it. And I'll hand it back to Shreya here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pramod, for your candor, for the context setting and painting an accurate picture of the landscape, both scary and promising, truly championing the opportunity that presents itself to us here in India. Now, I'm going to ask you all to join your hands and welcome our guest of honor for a special address, Ashwin Lohani, former chairman, Railway Board in Air India and currently CEO of GMR Aero Services. The stage is all yours. Over to you.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to compliment NASSCOM and DSCI for organizing this event, this annual Information Security Summit, much needed fair. On a wintry morning, if I can see so many people here right at the beginning of the session, it means that samasya hai. Cyber security, there is an issue. There is a problem which needs to be handled. And I'm not a cybersecurity expert. I just know how to run trains and fly planes and run hotels. Not a cybersecurity expert, so don't expect any words of wisdom from me. I'll just like to share my experiences of cybersecurity and other experiences. Big change from the time when IT actually began in the country. I was involved in IT in the mid-80s when IBM PC had just landed in, and we used to have big Almiras as computers. Not small, big Almiras as computers, and we never talked about cybersecurity. This subject was not there. अगर सिक्योरिटी की बात होती थी तो सिक्योरिटी गार्ड की बात होती थी, सिक्योरिटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस की बात होती थी. And thefts and crime have always been a concern. The era of cyber theft and crimes is a new dimension that advancements in technology have led to. IT revolution has taken the world by storm, and so have cyber threats in recent times. It's a big, big issue. As far as security of IT systems was concerned, in the mid-80s, we only used to discuss how to protect the systems from damage or from thefts, not from cybersecurity. But all this started when the first website arrived in the world in 1991, if I am right, when the systems started getting interconnected with each other. And that is when the real growth and real problems of the IT world started. Mischievous experts created viruses, sent them through email attachments to infect and make PCs defunct. Viruses kept on evolving, and so did the antivirus. USB devices came next. They became handy infection tools. And websites from 1991 also started playing their role as very effective carriers. I'd been to Mauritius. My first visit to Mauritius in 2015, I remember when I reached there, I got a call from my office. I was the chairman of Air India. Well, sir, have you sent a mail to the director of finance asking for funds? And I said, no. That was my real first brush with an activity like this. And then there was another incident which I remember wherein our mails to our New York office were hacked. And the hacker found out that they are corresponding with the engine manufacturer for supply of some spares. And he sent a fictitious mail in which conned my guys and there was some financial theft. Now, it was evident that these guys were becoming smarter by the day. There was a question in the last session, in the plenary session, there was a question if a big cyber attack happens and you got 30 seconds, what do you tell your boss? I was wondering what should we be telling our boss in such a scenario? Yes, boss, this has happened, but relax. Relax. We are at it, we'll handle it. That is what I would have told my boss, because it's a lot about how you handle the situation at that point of time. It's not about persons, it's not about how you tackle human beings at that point of time. Again, another incident in March 2019, we had an incident, a worldwide outage of the SITA system, which Air India had. Early morning, 6 o'clock, the system had crashed totally. All the check-ins all over the world had stopped. There was chaos in T3. IEI T3, there was a chaos. The only thing which I didn't know much about cyber attacks or cyber security, but what I knew was, let me reach the airport. Reached the airport at 6 o'clock, pulled up a chair and sat down in the place where the check-ins happen. Surrounded by distraught passengers, angry passengers, but well, that helped. That, just the fact that the chairman was sitting there right at the check-in counters, that helped. And the situation calmed down. The next 6 hours, we had the system back on track. We have to communicate to people, to employees, to managers, the seriousness of cybersecurity as a subject right now. How do we communicate? We have to communicate in as simple a language as possible. Not in real technical language. बहुत ही सरल भाषा में बताने की आवश्यकता है. मुझे याद है जब मैं एयर इंडिया मैंने ज्वाइन किया था 2017 में एज चेयरमैन, उस समय बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम एक्सीडेंट्स की थी. Massive problem of accidents. We had 4 or 5 accidents in a series. And I was told to stop it. Now, how do you do it? Now, I had to communicate to my entire team of 400,000 people who maintain tracks in very simple language. कि partners, safety जो है वो मेरी priority number 1 है, operation नहीं है. To the people who wear those yellow shirts and maintain the tracks, to the supervisors at the ground level, to managers at senior level, they had to be told in very, very simple language what I require of them. तो बहुत ही simple language में communication की आवश्यकता है. We have to tell our people to be alert, to know about this threat, and to be alert at all times. Perhaps regular publicity campaigns about these threats and how to react. But again, very, very simple campaigns which somebody sees, he remembers. जब इस तरह की मेल आती है तो उस समय आपको याद रहना चाहिए कि मेल का आईडी भी हम देख लें. किसी तरह की मेल या सस्पिशियस तो नहीं है. Normally what happens is you are so busy, you are not alert at that point of time and you get conned. And to expect that cyber threats will go away is like expecting evil will go away. Good and evil will always remain, and development and growth will also always be there, but they'll have their own challenges. Well, IT has indeed revolutionized the way things get done, and we with all our confidential matters, secrets, bank accounts, payment interfaces remain universally connected. Always we carry a computer in the pocket. This is a computer which can be hacked. Cybersecurity has emerged as the biggest challenge of the present times, with criminals innovating new weapons and mechanisms to invade us. Now, the recent Parliament House incursion is an example of crooked people finding ways of overcoming the highest security protocols. So these crooks are very, very smart, perhaps smarter than us. Challenges will always remain, and so shall we, with everybody being online with their smartphones and access to it. It's become paramount to drill down basic cyber literacy and hygiene. Again, I'll repeat in as simple language as possible, with simplicity being a crux. campaigns in social and mainline media. Thanks to forums like NASSCOM and DSCI for their role in the cyber battle. You all are doing a great work for the nation. Keep the flag flying high. Thank you. My best wishes for this event. Jai Hind.
A look back at timeline, the change of scenarios that is constant, and of course the conundrums and chaos that ensue under attack situations, and the live anecdotal references. Thank you so much for all of them. Without further ado, it's now time to move to hearing from our chief guest, Shri S. Krishnan, Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Over to you.
Good morning to all of you in Gurgaon. I'm sorry I'm not able to join you today in person. I hope I'm audible and it's not echoing. I presume that you can hear me and it's not echoing because I do not see a reaction. So I guess technology does enable us to meet virtually, if not in person. I think this is an extremely important event that DSCI and NASSCOM together have come together to host today. This is the 18th edition of the annual Information Security Summit, and this summit is not a day too soon. We have seen in recent times a fairly large increase in the number of cyber threats and cyber attacks that have been taking place across India. And India itself has become a greater and greater target for cyber attacks simply because the connectivity in the nation has improved so much. So many more people are connected to the internet and are using digital media to communicate with each other, to do business, to work, for all their functioning. A lot of it is happening that way. Likewise, as we are aware, increasingly, a large number of financial transactions are also taking place online. Nearly 80% of digital financial transactions in India currently are on the UPI platform, so which gives you an indication of how digitalization in the payments network has spread. So all of this means that we are also targets for cybercrime. Mr. Lohani, who spoke just before me, pointed out that good and evil are there forever and these threats last forever. In some ways, all that you can see is that, con games and people trying confidence tricks, people trying to cheat others is something which is perpetual. All of us have come across all of those stories of how, from childhood, we've been repeatedly told stories of how people attempt to cheat others and so on. It's just that today, in the cyber media, the volumes are significantly more. And when this kind of crime takes place, it is possible to actually do away with, it is actually possible to get away with large amounts of money. By nature, information security, information systems, IT systems are large systems. They tend to centralize. Automatically, all the information is available centralized. Automatically, all the controls are available centralized. You're able to operate many features in a central way. It is no longer decentralized. In any system, any large infrastructure today, whether we are talking about the power infrastructure, whether we are talking about the railway infrastructure, or the example which was just given about airline infrastructure, once it becomes digital infrastructure, it becomes entirely centralized and controlled at one location. It gives you a great amount of convenience. It gives you the ability to actually operate the system with far greater ease, but it also makes it that much more vulnerable to very large cyber attacks. A few years ago, we would recall that the Bangladesh Central Bank financial system. Their payment system was hacked, and large amounts of money running into billions of dollars were transferred all over the world. So that is a major threat that because of the nature of cyber systems, because of the nature of digital systems, we tend to face. And likewise, as financial transaction increases, it attracts the wrong kind of people also to do this. Third element which comes in all of this is there are state actors and non-state actors who want to actually terrorize or want to disrupt countries. And it is fairly possible now, if you attack the cyber systems, to actually do it. And that is something that we have to guard against as well. And the last thing, of course, is, crimes of passion. I mean, any policing agency that you talk to always believes that there are a large number of crimes of passion. And once it is a cyber world, it's a much more interconnected world, then crimes of passion also then go on to that scale. And it is possible with social media to act at that level, which is why then cybersecurity and information security becomes such an important function for every large organization, for the individual, and also for governments. This is something which is critical now. Industrial espionage, if you're talking about industries, and if you're talking about large corporates, industrial espionage is a big concern for them. For governments, cybersecurity is a constant concern in terms of the confidentiality of the information, in terms of secret documentation. All of those become that much more sensitive, not just in terms of time. Sometimes these things are time sensitive, at other times they are strategic, they are important for other reasons, and therefore we have to look at it. And as individuals, our personal information, whether it's financial or otherwise, is also at constant risk. And therefore, we need to adapt to this environment in every possible way. And as was pointed out earlier, I think it's important to get across in simple language, because what we need to understand is also a fact that many of us, including somebody like me, but many others who are in their 40s and 50s, are transitioning from a period where you're moving from a time where most of the transactions were manual, physical, face-to-face, to a time when most transactions are virtual and at the end of a smartphone or on a computer. And oftentimes, people who do not have the information or the knowledge can easily get misled. To an older person who has a lot of money, clearly, but who does not have adequate understanding of what needs to happen. Somebody rings them up and says, I'm calling from the bank, please give me your OTP number, or please give me some number and I will sort of take care of this particular transaction for you. Out of sheer, the panic of somebody sounding official, calling them, asking them for some details, they tend to part with it. These are the kind of things where a large number of individual cyber crimes take place. And that is where I think it's very important that while we see a digital revolution in the country, it's equally important that we ensure that nobody is left behind, and all people, including the older people who become an important element here, are given adequate awareness, knowledge, and at least informed about the way that cybercrime takes place so that they can take care of themselves. I think all of these are very important elements that we need to think about. The other element which I think we need to see as, certain, the organization which works under MeitY, the Computer Emergency Response Team in India, as per our statistics, the number of cybersecurity incidents in 2015 were 49,455. In 2023, up to the end of September, we've had 12,08,744 cybersecurity incidents. The number of incidents have gone up leaps and bounds. They've gone up hugely. Part of it is also because of improved surveillance. Undoubtedly, improved surveillance has brought to light many of these incidents which would have otherwise gone unreported. But the attacks are real, and more attacks are taking place. And in a country like India, where we are doing many more operations through digital systems, where digital public infrastructure has been rolled out, where the whole world appreciates India today in the way in which digital public infrastructure has been rolled out. Clearly, the risks of cybersecurity threats and attacks is a very real risk which we need to be aware of. And the other two elements which I would just like to say, which would be significant and important in the present context, is even as individuals, the question of cyber hygiene and ensuring that we are careful with whom we share our login credentials with, the manner in which we use other media, outside external media on our computers, say thumb drives externally or any other external agency, what we download, all of these factors are very critical. Likewise, in the way that systems are designed, in the way that, especially in the government side, we design portals, we design websites, we design all of these elements. I think security by design is an important element that we need to build into the culture to make sure that we protect ourselves from all of this. Clearly, we have advanced on the path of digitalization. We have advanced on the path of adopting many of these technologies. We cannot reverse that trend. Digitalization and many advanced technologies are going to, emerging technologies have hugely enhanced productivity. Clearly, they put us on a path of far greater, quicker, accelerated economic growth. This is a huge opportunity, particularly as we use emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and so on. But equally, they raise the challenge of malware. They raise the challenge of both state and non-state actors, people who are not well disposed towards this and who attempt to try and use these mechanisms to for negative or other purposes. So when such a situation arises, we do run into a situation where we have to be conscious, we have to be careful about the way that this particular area is addressed. We have to be conscious of the cybersecurity dimensions of every activity that we undertake, and there need to be clearly assigned budgets. They need to be clearly assigned thought in the way that the cybersecurity aspects are addressed in both large organizations at the household level and at the government level. One of the largest, I attend a number of events nowadays in different parts of India, including a large number of startup events. And one of the areas where there is huge interest in establishing startups is in the area of cybersecurity. Many cybersecurity startups are functioning in the country. Many of them have come up with wonderful ideas and wonderful mechanisms by which various cybersecurity threats can be addressed. This is in itself a huge economic opportunity. Often I'm reminded of this line from the Vishnu Sahasranama, where Bhishma is reciting the 1,000 names of Vishnu. And one of the things he talks about is Bhayakrit Bhaya Nashanaha, that Vishnu is the person who creates the fear and thereafter destroys it. So the computer industry, so it is very appropriate that NASSCOM and others are dealing with this issue, because you create the fear in the first place and you find ways in which you can actually destroy that fear by suggesting suitable solutions. And it gives me great pleasure that I was able to participate in this event. I apologize that I'm not able to participate in person. I think risking traffic on a weekday morning when Parliament in session between Delhi and Gurgaon is a far bigger cybersecurity or far bigger real risk than any other cybersecurity risk. And that's one reason I've not been able to be present today. But it gives me great pleasure to even go through this very, very informative report that is being put out today. And it is a pleasure and honor. I wish the conference all success. MeitY will await the discussions, a summary of the discussions and summary of the key findings of the summit on this occasion. And I'm sure these outcomes would be really useful and support us in designing our cybersecurity policy for the future as well. Thank you very much for the patient hearing, and I wish the conference all success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shri S. Krishnan. That was our Secretary Minister of Electronics and Information Technology. The silver lining, the resources, the access to growth, the spotlight and the appeal to adapt to this environment, and the importance of awareness and information, and the consciousness of security as we design in the future, rising to the challenges that this context is bringing to us is becoming imperative. Thank you so much for those words. Now, I request all of you to put your hands together for an exclusive report launch, India Cyber Threat Report 2023 by DSCI and Securite, a quick heal arm. For this launch, I'd like to invite Mr. Vishal Salvi, CEO, Quick Heal Technologies, to join us on stage. Can we have the report copies as well come over to our inaugural panel? So the report provides a threat landscape of India with findings derived from over 400 million detections across approximately 8.5 million endpoints in India, averaging a detection rate of 761 detections per minute. Ransomware poses a greater threat, averaging 1 incident per 650 detections, whereas malware incident ratios stand at 1 per 38,000 detections. Interesting case studies such as Expiro, Lockbit, Darktrace, WordPress, Bookly vulnerabilities have been in-depth mention in this report. To know more, scan the QR code, get your copy. You can also download a copy from the DSCI website. So there you go. That's the report. Make sure you get your hands on it. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. That was the inaugural. With that, we come to the end of the inaugural session. I'd like to request tokens of our appreciation to be handed over to our inaugural panel. Thank you so much for joining us.